Okay, good morning, everyone. We're here for the Village of Airmont for the Community Design Review Committee meeting Tuesday, June 11th, 11 o'clock. Our first item on the agenda is 454 Saddle River Road for a freestanding place of worship for a proposed site plan and a special permit. And I believe we have Dan Richmond on as the attorney for the applicant, Rachel Baris, the engineer, and the applicant's representative, Joel Swartz on. Good morning.
Good morning, Suzanne. Suzanne, should we start or how do you want to do it?
You can start if you want to review the project.
Again, we're here to create a freestanding place of worship pursuant to the new local law 2 of 2024, and together with an accessory rabbi's residence on the property, which is 1.19 acres. I don't know if you want us to pull up a site plan, Suzanne.
Yeah, sure. I will share the screen. Okay, you have the permission to share the screen.
Okay. Rachel, are you able to share? Do it.
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up.
Okay. So we're excited to present this proposal.
It's showing the map, right? The PDF of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so we're all on the same page. There's only a concrete foundation now on the side, so it's obviously going to improve site conditions and obviously provide a much needed use to the community, as well as being consistent with the intent of local law 2 to promote the free exercise of religion and to protect the general health, safety, and welfare. As we can discuss, the project will require a couple of variances, but we submit that the planning board can waive this because, including with respect to the maximum development coverage, we'll be able to, for maximum development coverage, we'll be able to show that we're compliant with stormwater control requirements. We're also going to need a parking variance. However, we submit that that should be easily granted, including because on Shabbos, the main day when people will be there, people will walk there. We also need a setback variance, but again, we submit the side setback, rear setback, and far setbacks all should be granted pursuant to standard New York law requiring, establishing that religious uses are presumptively in harmony with the community and enjoy special treatment. But we're looking forward to starting the dialogue, and we're eager to hear your comments. Rachel, I don't know if you want to give them a brief presentation of the plan.
Sure. So the structure is over here. This part is the house of worship. You can see my mouse, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then this side is the rabbi's residence. We are proposing that the 2 parking spaces for the rabbi's residence will have their own curb cut to be next to the rabbi's residence. And then this is the parking lot for the house of worship. The radius for the entrance is the 28 feet for the fire truck. And then we provided it so that the truck could come in, back, and then out. So the T turnaround is like the fire code has in their manual. That's why we have this piece here that's kind of sticking out on the corner. And there is a retaining wall across the back, almost like in a U, because the property is dropping off. Let me know if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we can go through the comments or whatever.
John, do you want to review your comments?
Yeah. So under seeker, we're suggesting that this be an unlisted action, and will require a public hearing. So under the EAF, couple comments. It identifies wetlands on site. I don't know if there is or there's not, but if there is, please show them. If there's not, please put a note on the plans. It also checks off regarding storm drainage discharge item 17, and then it asks for a further description, and I didn't see a description on the EAF, so we're asking that be changed. So there is, for fire access, a request to put some striped fire lane in with no parking signs, so that in the unlikely event of a fire that the building is not blocked. Comment 5 talks about the traffic study may or may not be required, and it really depends upon the projected number of congregants. So we're asking you to please note that on the plans and in the narrative. So we are just acknowledging that the Architectural Review Committee review is required. And we've been requesting that that be submitted at the CDRC stage so that the building inspector, mainly because Lou has to get an idea what this looks like from an interior perspective, and as well as the planning board can see what it will look like from an exterior. 5 variances are required, and if they're granted by the ZBA, we need that information on the plan. There's a bunch of agency review comments that need to be submitted to, including, if I'm not mistaken, county planning under GML 239. And I did note that you had that backup area that allows a truck to back out, but we do ask that you show the curve radiuses on the plan to verify that they can actually back up and turn around and get out.
Okay.
The engineering comments are very similar to probably the other site plans, Rachel, that you've done. So this is the first submittal. It is slightly below an acre, so although a full SWIP's not required, we are going to have to prove out that there's no increase in runoff and stormwater detention and or infiltration, how we're going to get rid of the stormwater and assure that it doesn't increase from existing conditions. Erosion sediment control, we need the design of the retaining wall. We're asking for a lighting plan. There is a landscaping plan that's submitted, but it doesn't appear to match the planning schedule. There's a discrepancy between planting locations and numbers versus what's shown on the schedule, so you're going to need to check that.
Okay.
Sewer services and water services on the plans. Just a comment that we think that the garbage dumpster may be able to be relocated and give a few more parking spaces, so it's less than what would be requested for a waiver or a variance. I'm not sure which one you will need here.
Okay.
But
So what so that I will say, we kept 35 feet because on the prior zoning, 35 feet was the front setback or front yard and front setback. So we tried to stay out of that 35 feet. Then when the zoning changed, now it's 50. So, that was the 35-foot line. So we had that all the parking stayed out of the 35 feet, but we can look at adding some now that we have to ask for variance anyway. So,
okay,
but that's how we had picked that line.
gotcha. And then so it looks like on the grading plan that there's a portion that drains to the rear with no detention or treatment. So I don't know if you're going to over detain on the front part to make up for the increase on the back part. So that's going to have to be described, because it looks to me like a portion of that site can't make its way to the stormwater treatment area. So I think you're going to need to take a look at that.
Okay.
That's all the comments we have at this time.
Lou, do you have anything?
I actually do. I have, looking at Rachel's plan, there's a lot of spots that don't have distances between, like on the, what is this? The south side of the residence driveway. It doesn't show a distance between the driveway and the property line. In the rear of the property, it doesn't show a distance between the driveway and the property line again. There's got to be a 10-foot because based on the size of the shul and the code. Also, the hammerhead is also supposed to be 10 feet from the property line. There's supposed to be a buffer. So I don't know how that can be accomplished. The garbage enclosure should be moved because that's possibly the worst spot I've ever seen to put a garbage enclosure, right at the entrance to a parking lot. And the other issue I have with these drawings is the FAR is at 0.37. The code actually states the FAR, the max size is controlled by the FAR for the zone. So it should try to become compliant with other structures in the zone, not double the FAR. The other question I had is I can't tell if this is over 10,000 square feet or under. There's a lot of, in the architectural drawings, there's a lot of measurements missing. It shows me some room areas, but not all the room areas. And it doesn't show me an exterior size.
Okay.
Also, let me interject quickly, if I'm not mistaken, this lot is one of the two lots that were subdivided previously, and approved by the planning board. And at that time, there were some conditions of approval, for the two lot subdivision, including some drainage improvements, as well as some, legal documentation regarding, a right-of-way dedication, right-of-way widening. And I know that the current owner is not the previous owner, and it may have been 2 or 3 owners ago, but there were conditions that were supposed to be met as part of that subdivision, and somehow, some way, I don't think they were met. So we're gonna need to figure out exactly what needs to be corrected, and I believe to move forward, we're gonna need that corrected sooner rather than later.
John, what was the name of the subdivision?
Saddle River Homestead, I can send you the previous resolutions.
That'd be
Um,
great, Suzanne.
yeah, it does mention the road winding and a drainage easement. And then there's been like at least 4 owners or 3 in between there. They were supposed to do a stormwater agreement, drainage. Nothing was done. I can send you the information.
Thank you.
Mhm. Chris, do you have anything?
I do not.
So CDRC, how are we handling the next steps?
I think they have to come back to CDRC. I want to get a handle on the number of congregants, because depending upon what that number is, we will ask our traffic consultant to decide whether or not a traffic study is required. And so that's number one. And I think there's a lot of other questions and comments we have. So I think we should come back to another CDRC.
Lou and Chris, you agree?
I definitely agree. The count I have on congregants is 142 for the men's and 88 for the women's. So you're looking at 230, 240 congregants, which would almost definitely require a traffic study.
And that would require a special permit, correct, based on the code?
I don't, that's, the code is
It
based
depends on if it's over 10,000 feet.
10,000 square feet, but I can't get a read on the 10,000 square feet.
Okay, so we'll wait till we
So-
get that defined.
I mean, I calculated the rooms that were labeled and I got just around 6,000 square feet, but it's less than, it's 60 to 70% of what is in there, and it's not scaled, so I can't measure it. So
Okay.
I'm having a hard time getting a reading on the building plans.
Okay,
Suzanne, when are the next CDRC deadlines?
okay, the next one is June 27th for the July 9th meeting. And then after that, August 1st, the meeting is August 15th due to a holiday. It's on a Thursday. I can send you the schedule as well.
That'd be great.
I'll also send you the planning board schedule
Thank you.
and CBA, so you have them all. And
Okay, thank
ARC. I'll just send them all to you.
I do have a question. Is it possible to possibly make this a little smaller? I mean, to try and lower the FAR number?
Look, we're gonna look at the applicant's needs, I mean, which I think, is what, drives this, and, we'll circle back to you.
All right.
Any questions from anyone?
Just one question. I think, John, you had mentioned that it would require a public hearing. I'm not sure what the public hearing would mean, and you don't need a public hearing for initial determination of significance. I was just wondering what,
No, at some point in time, it's gonna have to have a public hearing for site plan approval.
okay.
So I got.
That's
That's
all.
all I have as well.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good day, and I'll send you those items after the meeting.
All right.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, the next application on the agenda is Tiburon Torah 2 and 3 Fosse Court for an educational institution with accessory housing It's a proposed site plan, special permit, and lot line merger. And we have Paul. Hi, Paul. How are you? Paul Baum.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Morning. On for the applicant.
So this is a new application. We have two existing single-family dwellings at the end of Fosse Court. 3 Fosse Court is owned by the Sephardic Heritage Center Charitable Trust, Tiferet Torah. That property will be converted to a dormitory for 30 students. The other property at 2 Fosse Court, I think I screwed that up. 2 Fosse Court is owned by the Sephardic Heritage Center. That will be the school. 3 Fosse is owned by Rabbi Hakeki, and that will be the dormitory. So that's the plan, is to merge these 2 lots, have a school and dormitory for 30 students. The school will be housed at 2 Fosse Court, and the dormitory will be housed in 3 Fosse Court. Obviously, the children don't drive. They don't have cars. So we won't have any pickups or drop-offs except when they come and go home. The staff does drive, and from what I understand from the rabbi, the way they are planning to operate is they will have 4 staff will come in the morning from about 7:30 to 1 o'clock. At 3, and then they leave, and then at 3 o'clock, I understand 2 staff come in. And then 2 or 3 come back at around 7:30. So altogether, there's really never any more than about 4 staff members on site at any location at any time. There is a dorm counselor. He drives, so he will have a vehicle because he'll come and go with his vehicle. So parking demands are very, very minimal. And we're providing 21 spaces, but under the calculation of the code, we really need 24. So we're going to need a waiver from the planning board for those 3 spaces. And that's just the nature of the application. We're trying to make no changes other than install whatever parking and that is required, and no additional construction is proposed except for sidewalks.
John, do you want to
Got it.
review?
Did I miss
your-
anything, Rachel?
I think you covered it. I mean, it's our first time here. We had to start somewhere, so.
Yeah.
So under the planning comments of the review, so we're recommending that this be classified as an unlisted action, and a coordinated review, which we typically do on commercial sites of this, even though it's a relatively small number of students overall, we still think it should be a coordinated review. So we're asking a list of all involved and interested agencies. And we're asking to please note on the plans and the EAF, the maximum number of students as being 30. Moving on to comment 3, that if in fact the maximum number of students is 30, that and the students reside on the premises, a traffic study would not be necessary. So there are 8 variances for this application. They seem excessive for the size of the property, but the applicant is willing to go to the zoning board of appeals to get variances. We need the date and type of variance and date of variance granted on the plans, assuming the ZBA were to grant that. Comment 5, I guess, after reading or hearing your dissertation there, maybe it's, with the students being there and there's really no busing and no parking, and that there's only 4 on site, I guess a waiver would definitely be in order here. So I was just noting that, for 3 more spaces, you can just eliminate 1 more waiver or variance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think we would probably love to eliminate even more parking spaces, but and so maybe that's in the cards, who knows?
all right, so for now, I'm gonna nix that comment. GML is required, we believe, and Rockland County Water and Sewer, Town of Ramapo. So we also, for any commercial site plans, require a long form EAF be submitted. We did get a short form, but we need a long form. And
So-
on the short form, it did hit, this site as being archaeologically sensitive. So when that happens, we ask that you give us a SHPO review.
So just one question, John, on the long form, I mean, obviously we did a short form because the site's fully developed. The only thing that we're really putting in here is a paving for some parking. Do you really think you need all that additional information in a long form for this limited
Yes,
type of development?
I'll defer that to the attorney, but a lot of times, you know, even though there's a site that you're only adding 2/10 of an acre of additional development, or 3/10 or 4/10, it's an entirely different change of use entirely. It's essentially a residential, 2 residences that are being converted into a school and a dormitory. So that being the case, I guess I would defer to the attorney.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's,
agree that a long form is probably, if not necessary, be very helpful.
yeah, I mean, it's really up to you. If you feel that you need the additional information, we'll gladly give it to you, so.
Let's do the long form, and hopefully it doesn't require anything extra after we see the long form, but we just should see it.
And I did run the GIS GML report. It does need a GML for the record.
Yes, it definitely does. It picks it up from 2 sides, I think.
Yes.
All right, and under the engineering comments, I don't have to go in depth because they're mostly the same comments that Rachel has seen before. Just noting that we will have to do a lot line consolidation. Typically, that's not done until the site is granted a conditional approval, so the owner knows that, you know, he's essentially approved before he deletes a lot line. So I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want it to slip through the cracks.
Yeah. So
Um,
can I just get one bit of clarification?
Yeah.
With this, I mean, technically it's, well, if we're putting two lots together, it's technically a re-subdivision. At times we've had to go and, you know, get planning board approval, subdivision approval to merge 2 lots and then file a map with the county clerk's office. Other times we've done it like at 39 Beeson Parkway, he just merged the lots and filed a lot line disclaimer with the tax assessor. So,
Right, as long as both owners have the exact same name on both parcels, that can be done, correct?
okay, so
So-
we can just convey title, put them in the same name, file a lot merger with the tax assessor, and you guys are good with that? That'll
I'm
be a
good with that.
condition.
I'm good with that.
So
Okay.
it does not need planning approval. It's just a lot line. Didn't I send you the instructions, Paul, from the town of Ramapo a while back?
Yeah, but I think at other times that it's been considered a re-subdivision, which requires subdivision approval. And there was
Okay.
talk about, oh, you actually have to go and file a map with the county clerk's office showing
the
that
drainage
2
agent.
lots were merged into one. And then another time it was just done by a lot merger with the tax assessor, which is a lot easier. I'm happy
Yeah,
to do
no,
that.
it's the lot merger now is acceptable. The reason why I keep putting the comment in is because it has happened whereby they've gotten site plan approval and they've actually built it, and it's across 2 lots because the lot merger never happened.
They never merged
So
it.
I just want to make sure that it doesn't slip through the cracks, and it'll be on my review comments until conditional final approval.
Okay,
That's why it's in there, but your way is easier, and I'm okay with that.
all right, good.
Yeah, and I think, Paul, the other application you mentioned, before it came to us, it was already merged.
Yeah,
That's why it was so much easier. It was done before.
yeah, on 39
went to
Beeson Parkway, right?
CDRC
But
and
then I
planning.
think we have to do it for 44 and a 36 Hillside.
Yes,
And I think there was another
Brookside, a
one.
number of ones. There's a number of applications.
Yeah, there was another. All right, but that's fine. Thanks for the clarification on that.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna really go through all the comments because they're very consistent with the previous reviews on a first-time CDRC. So are there any questions or comments on the engineering? Rachel?
No, nothing that sticks out.
And,
Okay.
and there
you.
were comments from the Muncie Fire Department. If you can just take those into account when you redo
Yeah.
any plans.
Before we moved on to Muncie Fire Department, John, your comment number 8 that says show a bus drop off and pickup location. We really don't have one.
Okay, these are students that will be picked up only during off school times and summertime. So.
Right,
if
right. When
that's-
they go
that's
on
true-
vacations, some of them will take a ride share. Some of them, their parents will come up. Some of them, they'll probably be a small passenger van to pick them up and bring them down to the area where they live. That some of them live in the same community, so it's not an ongoing thing.
Okay, so comment 8 does not apply.
All right. So going over to the fire department's comments, and Lou, I guess I need your help for this one. Is the fire truck going to be coming into this parking area that we need to provide, a background or a drive-through, or is this something that
I
it'll be
can't
forth
see,
from the road?
I can't see the fire department coming onto the property. The only thing, since you're taking out the driveway at 3. Yeah, you're removing where the current driveway is, that
Yes.
you would normally pull a truck or back a truck in there, but they don't want to be too close to the house, and they can't back out of that parking lot because of the way that's designed. So I don't know if you want to put an entrance on the corner of the parking lot that comes into that loop rather than having it where it is in front of 3, so the truck could just circle in and circle out and can access both houses from the same parking area.
We make that a loop.
Correct.
We had talked about that, Rachel. Why did we not do that? The grades or?
To start, we were just trying to limit coverage as much as possible.
Right.
But if the village is okay with that, we're okay with putting it in. We were just trying to limit the access points if we could, but
Right.
that's fine.
Well, they're gonna have problems and realize that 2 is actually fully sprinklered. 3 is not, but it's well within the limits. It's under 49 people, so doesn't need to be.
Okay, and they're lower.
Right. So there's really no, I mean, it's as if it was a residential house. You have similar access as if it was a residential house, except for the loss of the driveway. So I don't know why the fire department would be, require anything additional at this point.
Okay.
So you think we should make it a loop road or
I don't know. I mean, it,
or maybe do a grasscrete where the existing driveway is? So if the fire truck does want to pull in there, they can.
or a small section of grasscrete from the front of 3 to the edge of the parking lot, just enough to pull a truck off the road.
Okay.
So they can access the front of the building, because if they pull into that parking lot to try and access the front of 3, they're gonna have to back out.
Right. Yeah, but then it's got to be 26 feet wide for their outriggers and everything, right?
Right.
We're gonna need a
Yeah.
wide swatch.
That's unfortunately correct.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, I don't know what the distance is from the corner of the parking lot to the road, but it might be easier just to pave a 20-foot section to the road.
Yeah, it may be.
Because then they could pull right in there and pull out the other entrance, the other exit. They don't
Okay.
have to turn around at all.
And then maybe we can offset that by eliminating some of the parking. What do you guys think? I mean, can you? I wanted to bring up Rachel's plan. Do you have it handy,
I
Rachel?
can.
The screen is shared.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, let me see if I can annotate it. Nope. It's not letting me
Yeah, so
annotate.
this is the part we'll just kind of extend and come through here so that the fire truck can kind of go
Right.
have the
Exactly.
access through. That's fine.
Then
So
you'd be
what, Rachel, those, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those 8 spaces right in front, those? Do you guys think it makes sense to eliminate those? But then we're probably gonna be in a parking variance as opposed to a parking waiver. if we
Correct.
eliminated them, but would Lou or John from a engineering or site plan layout, would you have any objection if we reduced the number of parking spaces in order to make up for the additional pavement that we're gonna create with the
I
new
would, I wouldn't take out all 8. I would take out maybe 3 or 4 and then go straight into the courtyard.
Yeah, so even with, uh,
Okay,
know,
so you're saying like cut out just like a couple here short so that this would just kind of come in here
Correct.
instead of
Yep.
extending this.
Yep.
Okay, that could be like a compromise.
so, and then the other thing is, the students, the 30 students, they're there, they stay there, that's great, that's fine, but when summer's out and vacation and holidays, what we don't want is 30 parents showing up at the same time to pick up 30 children, so I think on the other couple of other applications you had in your narrative and maybe even on the plan, certain dismissal times so that you only have 3 or 4 parents coming at certain times to pick kids up, so you don't get 30 cars coming at one time to pick up the children, because they do go home for holidays and for summer and so forth. So that little scenario with reducing 3 or 4, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
All right, we'll add a note, because my understanding is, some of these kids come from the Queens, some of them come from Brooklyn, some of them come from, New Jersey. So when they go home, a bus may pick up, 8 or 9 of them and bring them to a location in Brooklyn, and then their parents will pick them up there. Very few parents are coming up on a individual basis to pick up their child. And some of them will just be taking Ubers or Lyfts or whatever, where they need to go. So, but we'll add whatever sort of note that dismissal and arrivals will be staggered for students, so that there won't be any more than so many vehicles there at any given time.
Okay.
Okay, Rachel, with regard to the Muncie Fire Department letter, did you have any other issues?
No, that's fine.
So Lou, just out of curiosity, why would they say they want to use their largest responding aerial apparatus equipment? Do they decide, like, when on a call out where they're going, which equipment to bring at that time, or they always bring their largest piece of equipment?
No, they don't. They usually bring a pump truck. They usually don't request a ladder. And in this case, it's probably listed as a school. If we list it as a school on the records, they don't realize it's a single family house. I mean, their largest ladder is serious overkill.
How many stories are the structures going to be?
It's a standard 2-story house
2-story, 2.5. I mean, 2-story with a walkout basement, I think, right?
on one side. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not like the dorm building over at 260 where it's, 30 something feet high.
Right.
This is only 2-story. It's a regular house. I mean, you can't tell it from any other house in the cul-de-sac. So I don't know why you would want to bring a ladder truck that close and, but yeah, I can't say anything. They're not requiring sprinklers. They're not requiring standpipes. They're not requiring, everything else is covered. So
If they go with this, remove 3 parking spaces and kind of loop in and loop out, it's possible that you may even meet it with a ladder truck. So if you do.
oh yeah, you could easily.
Oh, yeah, I think we'll meet it. I
Do what
was
they
just
want.
out of curiosity, while they're, you see these comments all the time that it's gotta have our biggest truck, and I was just wondering how do they know when to use those big trucks, that
Well,
they
and
want
honest,
everything to comply with them?
honestly, not to be mean, they could reach both buildings from the road. So I don't know why they would even want to pull in the area, except if you went into the cul-de-sac and turned around, you could use the parking area as a turnaround for the truck. But I don't think you ever want to get a ladder truck that close to the house.
I mean, that was my thought. That's why part of why I was like, well, was it necessary to have the additional pavement and the increased number of impervious coverage? But I was kind of given up trying to figure out how they think,
Right.
because I don't know, a lot of them, I'm like, are they really, like, it's one thing if it's Route 59 and they're not gonna block Route 59, but I'm like, this is a cul-de-sac.
It's a dead end cul-de-sac and
Yeah.
it's a large cul-de-sac. You could easily turn a truck in it, so there's really no issue. I don't know why, I can't argue with, we could do the best we can and try and make them happy for everything, but yeah, I think going out into the cul-de-sac and modifying that parking lot just a little bit would give them a secondary loop around, and that should, that way they can keep one or two trucks off the cul-de-sac and still maintain traffic accessibility for the other houses.
Okay,
All right. I was just trying to limit the development coverage as much as possible, but,
Sure.
all right, well, we'll make those changes.
So Lou, John, Chris, next steps.
It's the first submittal, so we got a bunch of questions and some changes, so I think we should come back for one more CDRC.
Okay. So Paul, if you're gonna come for July 9th, the deadline's June 27th or August 1st for the August 15th meeting, which is on a
Wait,
Thursday.
you're going too fast for me. June
sorry.
27th was for the July
July
9th
9th, CDRC,
CDRC.
or August 1st for Thursday, August 15th.
Oh, we'll definitely get in by June 27th for July, right,
Okay,
Rachel?
I didn't know. So I just wanted to give you both dates.
I mean, I won't be here August 15th for any of them, so.
Okay. So
No,
then,
what I'm saying is these revisions that we just talked about, you'll be able to have them done by June 27th, so we can come back next month here.
Maybe.
Okay.
It's been a rough few weeks, so
right.
we'll
Well,
kind of see how it
that'll-
all goes, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna commit to anything right now, but
Okay.
somebody from my office will be available August 15th, but it will not be me. That's when I'm on vacation, so. But
We'll
we'll
figure it
figure it
out.
all out.
All right. Anything else, Lou? You have anything?
No.
okay,
All right. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
okay. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
All right,